Let's dive into The Devil You Know. Is it based on a real person? Did you have a boss that was a devil? No, I'm just.
You would be surprised how many people that I have worked with that were my bosses have asked me whether or not it was autobiographical, and I've
Uh,
had to reassure them that it is not.
So it's not based on any boss you might have had that you might have not liked, or that you might have sort of, it might have angered you in a little way.
So here's the thing. In the book, so The Devil You Know is a series, and just like for those of you, so those who can see, so the first book is My Boss is the Devil.
mhm.
Okay. My Boss is the Devil takes Nick, a young barista who is caught in a dead end cycle in his life, gets to change his life by going to work for the devil. As far as you can tell, the devil doesn't seem to be the bad guy.
Ooh.
So it's not about the devil being his boss that's the bad thing. And that's where it gets into the discussion of what's good, what's evil. Is the devil really bad? Is selling your soul bad? But
Mm.
what if you get to do like the whole premise of the book is Nick is a guy who wants nothing more than to help other people, but is unable to do so because he can't get out of his own way. He's a college dropout. He's in a dead-end job because getting a job as a barista was one of the things he could kind of learn as a like it's more of a trade than like any other retail that you would get into, but isn't food service. So like he got this job because he could, and now he's stuck. And he doesn't know how to help other people other than by putting the occasional dollar in the cup of the homeless person that he
Yeah.
passes by on the way into work. And he gets this opportunity to actually make a difference because the devil doesn't just offer him a job, the devil gives him a chance to use that influence to help other people. And then the question is this all just a setup? Is this so
Yeah.
that Nick sells his soul? Or is the devil actually not really the problem and is actually the evil of man that is the big the adversary in the book?
Mm.
I
No, I feel.
like that. I like that, and I think it reminds me of a line that I read in a comic a long, long time ago. It said, "Even the villains are the heroes of their story," and you know what I mean. Like everything is not as it seems because they may be trying to. Like there are some people that are just really evil and they just want to see the world burn. You know, like Heath Ledger's Joker is a perfect example of that. You know, I've recently rewatched the Nolan Batman movies, and you know where he just burns up money. You know, he burns millions and millions of dollars just because he wants to. But then there are people who genuinely think they're doing the right thing in their minds. But in our minds, they're the villain or they're doing something evil, but they're doing it for the reason they think they are helping people. Do you know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
sounds like a perfect theme among your story.
Yeah, it's similar to that, and it is really more about so the whole premise is, and I joke about this multiple times in the books, is uh, you know, so for the record, I'm not Christian, I'm Jewish.
Mhm.
So the concept of like heaven and hell is abstract to me because I
Yeah.
was not raised in that religious culture.
Yep.
So I always looked at it a little bit differently and said, you know, when I was coming up with this idea for the book, it was, well, what would I do if the devil offered me a job? But then also, like, what if the devil wasn't the bad guy? What if the devil just had a bet with God that they wanted to see which one of them could take custody of more souls? And like that's kind of where it goes, in that Nick has to grapple with the morality of what it is that he's trying to do and whether the ends justify the means with this backdrop of, yeah, but this is all very normal stuff. This is all, you know, you shouldn't even have to worry about this. I'm being with me is just as good as
Mm.
being with the other guy. So why
Yeah.
not, you know?
Yeah. So
No.
did you do much research into, or I think you probably did, into all the different sides, or like what literature, I guess what I'm saying is what literature did you read, what movies did you watch to kind of build your world, like the main influences and inspirations sort of thing.
I've studied a lot of different world religion, like including some Christianity, and like I grew up Jewish, so the Old Testament is the the Torah is the Old Testament,
Yeah,
and
there's some crazy stuff in there.
so oh my God, yeah. If we talk about future projects, let me tell you about it because
Yeah,
like that's a whole rabbit hole.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm really pretty well versed in at least the broad strokes
yeah,
of Christian mythos and like God and the devil and all of that.
yeah,
But it's also I do it um I do a relatively unique take on it because I don't dive into a lot of like this book doesn't dive into scripture
yeah.
for the most part. Think of it like the magic system in these books. It's like a supernatural contract law.
All
Like
right, cool.
it's if I had to describe it, you know how like there's high magic and there's low magic
Yep.
fantasy. This is kind of like low magic urban fantasy in that magic exists and the supernatural exists, but not that many people know about it.
Yep.
And those that do, it's a special case. So a lot of what Nick learns to do is about utilizing this power of Lucifer to but basically think of it like Lucifer has agents, and the agents can make deals, like the
Yeah.
handshake deals with the
Yeah.
devil. uh his agents can do that in his name, so that's what Nick gets to do. So like I sidestep some of the need for some of the research because I don't go
Yeah.
heavy into scripture,
Yeah.
but I know like anyone who's read it who cares about it has said that they were very happy with the level of research that I clearly
Yeah.
did. So will I say how much research I did? I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Yeah.
it's all a lot of it is stuff that was just already up here.
Yeah. So
And and I
write what you know.
well yeah, but
Yeah.
also I absolutely do a lot of like on the spot ad hoc research. As I am
Yeah.
writing something, if I feel like I don't know it well enough, I do a quick deep dive into whatever it is
Yep.
to get enough of an understanding that I can write it in a way that is, um, if not, if not faithful to
Yep.
the material, at least I'm making a conscious choice to deviate from it.